So AI as a prediction that what we have, or what is the spend that what we are seeing, India specific is going to be 5 billion in spending for the AI, right? So that's the amount of spend which is happening, and that is how the adoption is also driving. I mean, if I take the global number, it is predicting to be 160 billion by 2026. So that's the level of the importance which is given to AI. So I have a question for you. Anybody have not heard of AI? Okay, that's good. Everybody has heard of AI, which is wonderful. Okay, so we have the dignitaries here to answer some specific questions on how do we drive AI as we move forward, and how we are going to make it better and better as we go along. So starting with Viral. So Viral, from the strategy perspective, deploying the AI itself, what's an effective strategy that we can leverage AI, and what all the fundamentals, actionable insights we can drive out of it, specifically on the BFSI side of it?
Right, great. I think very important question to answer. We all talk about AI. Everybody is trying to use AI in some form or the other. You just said some figures which we are trying to achieve by a certain number of years. While we do all of these, I think what is more important is, do you really have a strategy in place as an organization in terms of usage of AI? And I think that's very important question to have. If you are not using AI, don't worry. There is no fear of this. See, AI today is like cloud 5 years back. AI use nahi kare to tum log kya kar rahe ho? It's like a FOMO. But frankly, it is important to take a step back and think about a strategy at an organization level in terms of adoption of AI. Do you really need to adopt AI? That's the first question that we need to really answer. From a business perspective, from an organization perspective, what are you trying to achieve, and will really AI help you achieving that? So finding the right case. How do you find the right case? What are the criteria of identifying a correct use case of AI? I think that's the first and foremost, the most important part of an AI strategy. And obviously you can say that my strategy is I'm not going to use the AI. That's absolutely fine, but you have it documented and have it approved by a board. Second is, once you kind of identify the use case, next comes the data, because the entire AI is essentially will be able to leverage the data that you have. So the next step is, identify what type of data is required for that AI to work, what quantity of data is required, what type of quality of data, do you really have that quality? Will you be allowed to use an outside data outside of your organization, or you're going to run AI on the data which is produced within your organization? So answer those kind of questions and make it a part of your AI strategy in terms of what data, how much data, what quality of data is required. Once the data element is handled, next is the model. So what AI models are you going to use for what use case? So not every model is suitable for every use case. So you define what are the AI models which are going to use. So after addressing the models part, next comes your output in terms of, and this is very important because once the AI model predicts certain things or gives you certain output, what is the accuracy level that you want to define as an organization for before put to production, right? So have those thresholds defined. And I think some of the panelists in the previous panel mentioned output can be sometimes disastrous. So you also have to define, okay, at what threshold you will probably have a human oversight over the results of the AI. And after it matures over a certain threshold, and what is those thresholds, also you define that thresholds in your strategy, that then it will be on autopilot mode. Then you really don't need to worry about the output of AI. And last but not the least is, in terms of data privacy and, accuracy of and the efficiency of AI that you want to do, and the regulatory framework that you need to take care of before you kind of make it to production. So these are the certain elements that you really need to cover in terms of your AI strategy.
Thank you so much for setting the stage for AI. It's not about AI deployment. It's about why AI, identifying why AI, and then developing a strategy around it, right? So that's an important step that we need to take. So now moving on to Mr. Mangesh. AI and customer experience. How do you see that? See that is going hand in hand, and how is it helping in deploying the solutions from that standpoint, specifically in the BFSI sector?
Yes, actually, I represent banking sector. So, in banking, customer or in all organization, customer is a king basically. So, he's a very choosy now. Customer is very choosy, and he wants right products or right services at right point of time. And now, earlier, banking evolved from the general ledgers, manual general ledgers to now it is a core banking. Also, it is a long back, almost 20 years back. Core banking completed. Now, digital platform. Now it is a API. Now AI banking. So
Exactly.
banking has also evolved, and why it has evolved? Because of the data, availability of the data. Data is available, even internal data is available, external data is available. Government agencies are there. So data earlier data quality was not there. Data was there, but quality was not there. So over the period, bank has also done the data quality exercise, data cleansing exercise, and then we have a lot of third party basically. We call it third party, but like NSDL or other. So we get a correct data or correct information from the external entity. So so to give a better customer service. Yeah. So to give a better customer service, we are in the banking sector, we are extensively using the data. So basically, data main use case, basic use case is like a chatbot, conversational banking or chatbot. Earlier it was a rule based. Now, based on the customer behavior or based on the customer relationship with the bank and the kind of question or information is requesting. So chatbot or conversational banking is giving the information to the customer. Then in a banking, we have basically onboarding is also we are using AI, which customer is having a potential to onboard that, because we have to see the customer credit history or his other banks relationship, or in social media also we get some kind of feeds. So those are being used before onboarding the customers. So once the customer onboarded, so there is a journey basically from opening of the account. So once the account is open, like he is opening saving bank account, so over the period, we have to find out whether he will require a housing loan, car loan, education loan. So those kind of based on the data or based on the AI, we offer right products at the right time, products and services. Then one more thing, like since we are a bank, so we are lending also. So for giving loan, so we have to see that credit history. So AI is used for the underwriting kind of thing. Credit history we are checking, and based on the credit history and under this thing rating, underwriting, we are giving the loan. Loan also, then post loan, then we see whether the EMIs are coming in time. What is the customer's expenditure pattern? What is the probability that he or she will become a, NPA? So there also we do the basically AI as a tool to find out, and it will give an early warning system basically. Then one more use case is like a fraud detection actually. So many transactions are happening, and so based on the customer's transaction pattern or expenditure pattern, will identify whether this customer is actually doing the transactions or some other fraudulent or some hacker or some fraudulent entity is doing the transactions. So there I will prevent that transaction before it happens, or if it is happening, we will take a corrective action immediately, so that we'll say that customer will not his money. Those kind of uh, use cases are there. Then like security, Viral was mentioning, security is also one of the uh, vital area in the banking. So many logs are coming in IT security also. So there also it is humanly it is very difficult to do the analysis of those logs. So there also, and we means basically that OEMs actually, the tool itself is having AI engines now. So it will also throw some alerts. So these are the suspicious activity happening in your network or security. So those kind of things are, and now now it is a generative AI. AI is now
Oh,
before
yeah.
implementing now Gen AI started. So now we are exploring Gen AI also.
Yeah,
That is what
that's the next step. Thank you for that, Mangesh. So basically, it's about strategy and the data. Now, with the data, take the insights to drive customer experience. by getting specific inputs and insights based on the data, right? That's what Mr. Mangesh was saying. So now the next question is to Abhay. So we have the strategy, we have the data. Now, what all the compliance and regulatory requirements while adopting AI and innovations are towards that? And what are the best practices that you would recommend in taking that through further, Abhay?
Yeah, this is an easy one. And surprisingly, for a topic which is, so popular and so much in the news, I hate to say this, but as of this point in time, there are no rules, no laws, and no guidance for anything relating to AI in India. Yeah, as we speak. Having said that, between 2018 and 2021, there have been lots of frameworks which are meant to guide us, yeah, quote unquote guide us. Yeah, and those are the principles that need to be followed, and most of them fall in the realm of good practices. Yeah, so what are the good practices that need to get followed? And there's 7 of them. So the first one is, whichever AI you use, just make sure it is safe and reliable. And this is true of any technology, actually, that your technology should be safe in the sense of it should not do more harm to the customers than it already does. And it should be reliable to the extent that you have intended to do something, the output should be very close to what you intended to do. So that's safety and reliability. The other area, and which is a more important one, is accountability. Because what's happening in AI is that the decision is being suggested by an algorithm. Now, algorithm is not an entity that you can prosecute. Yeah. End of the day, it's humans. Now, is it the human who signed off on the AI policy? Is it the human who coded the AI policy? Or is it the human who just was subject to the following up of AI policy? So there has to be a very clear accountability. Yeah. For example, if a self-driving Uber car were to kill someone, is the CEO of Uber accountable? Is the CTO accountable? Or the last programmer who ratified the test was accountable? So this is very important to ensure that whichever principle AI was being followed for, there is accountability for it. Yeah. These are the 2 very important principles. Obviously, there are several others, relating to transparency, relating to privacy and stuff like that. But I think safety, reliability, and accountability are the ones that are very, very important. Having said that, there are no laws in the country yet. There are guidance. The most recent one is, which has been issued in August 21, which talks about these principles in detail. Yeah. So we would do well to just follow them through. Now, see, the trouble actually is, and I'm talking more in terms of how do we enforce these kind of things. The trouble is, in a business rule engine, you have a formula and you get data out of it, which you can then completely explain. With AI, it's actually reversed. You have lots of data.
Absolutely.
And then you formulate a rule basis the data. Now, if the data was comprehensive enough, rich enough, and encompassing enough situations, the chances, the rule that will come out of it will be very, very close to reality in predictions or, explaining stuff like that. So I think the single biggest thing that corporates have to do, and, and ICICI will be taking that very, very seriously, is post facto explainability. Yeah. Is once you've got this rule and once this seems to be working, you got to then work backwards and saying, what is the rule that you could have formulated out of it? Yeah. So it's a little tautological. We got data, we came up with the rule. Now we're using the rule to just explain the data back and just understand the principles of accountability and safety and reliability. Yeah. Just make sure those are covered. Yeah. Now, having said that, this is still Wild West. Yeah. We are still experimenting, or we're still figuring out, and which is the reason why, while it has come into the mainstream discourse and narrative, in terms of really the stuff that is moving the needle, we're being very, very careful about where we implement it.
Yep, that tells a lot, right? So data we need to process through an engine, then there has to be one human who has to interpret it. So still human exists, right? So it's going to
see the trouble here is post facto.
Exactly.
Yeah. The stuff has happened. So a lot of people say data is the new oil. data is actually the new plutonium. Yeah. It's radioactive. You got to just make sure there's enough safeguards around it, or you risk Chernobyls. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So next question is to Atul. Just continuing from what Abhay said, with those regulations and compliance in mind, how is it affecting the decision process and development part of the AI?
Sure. I will just take it forward from where Abhay left. Although unlike the Western world, the way say European Union have their own AI Act for them, where they are predominantly working in the levers like data governance or ethical uses, or even US, they have their own act in terms of again privacy and human interventions. We are also developing, we are also evolving in terms of bringing some governance or some regulation for for AI. But predominantly, if you say the DP, the DADPA Act, the data, what we call Digital Personal Data, Act 2023, which is the foundation of basically this AI, which gives a perspective in terms of what are the key levers where organizations have to work when they are talking about AI. Either it is in terms of data privacy, or again ethical uses of the data, or the cyber security. These are the three levers where this particular act direct us. And again, RBI also comes time to time proactively. They are giving some rules and regulation, or the circulars which not directly but indirectly impacting the AI things. So for example, even they advises banks to ensure that they have the proper cyber security policy. They advises bank that they have the proper risk framework right before uses of any sort of AI tool in the bank, right? So I think as a institution, these are the enablers which are being provided by a regulator. There is no policy, there is no regulation, but these are the enablers which are helping us to ensure, and as I said, there are the three main things: the accountability part and the awareness part will help us to build our journey. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. So moving on, Dr. Jasmin, this is a question for you. How do you predict the AI advancements and data analytics for the future business needs as we go along?
That's a very interesting question, because AI itself is in a very nascent stage in most of the organizations. But yes, I think the future is bright. So taking the cue from Mangesh, for example, where he talked about AI and CX and the various initiatives and the personalization and the hyper-personalization that is being used for customer experience and customer retention. Taking the same format forward, why can't AI be used for enhancing employee experience, for example? Because there is a lot of data related to employees' performance within the organization. The same data can be used, so AI-enabled and analytics-based performance improvement initiatives can be rolled out in the organization. This is something I think very few organizations have experimented with, but it has a great future in terms of using AI for employee experience and employee retention. Now, again, I think in the hyper-personalization session, we saw wherein customers' data, customer behavior is analyzed to send out triggers to the customers, make personalized offers to the customers for cross-selling, upselling, etc. Taking it forward, ChatGPT. Now, this was all predictive AI. Generative AI, when along with predictive AI, can play a very important role wherein it can curate the message that can go to the customer, in what form it goes to the customer in such a way that it is not just about the timing of the message, it is not just about the mode of communication, but it is also the content that the customer reads, either on a WhatsApp or an email or an SMS, which triggers the customer to act on that communication, is also taking predictive AI and generative AI, putting them together to enhance that customer experience much, much further. I think we all know chatbots are being used for customer experience, queries, complaints, etc. Why can't chatbots be used for credit underwriting? Because in the physical world, when field officers go and ask a few questions to the customers to analyze their personality, especially we are talking of the Bharat, where we don't have credit bureau data, and we rely on the secondary data which is available in the market, the same can be undertaken through chatbots as well. So I think there are a few use cases emerging around this, not implemented, but yes, there is a future. Now, when we talk of course, we are talking of banks, but when we talk of fintechs, for example, there are a lot of community-based fintechs. A community is a group of people, like for example, there is a Facebook community of women only. Now, a lot of information, conversations happen in the community amongst the members. That is also rich enough data for AI to give out solutions, which can be used not just for the group dynamics, but for individual customers as well. So products can be curated, offers can be made, and the entire community can become alive, vibrant, and even profitable if AI is used in the right way, right? Absolutely. And I think even more, when I launched NeoX, which is one of the first and the largest neobank in the country, where we had 1 million customers in just 9 months. I think that's a world record. But it's not just about getting customers in. It's also about getting the right customers in. Now, how do you get the right customers in? I think it's also about AI, not just within the organization, but also using AI in the outside world to figure out that the right customer is coming in. Is the customer's email ID jasminbgupta@gmail.com, or the customer's email ID is abcd@1234? Is the email ID 1 year old or 16 years old? How old is the mobile number through which the customer is trying to enter? Is the customer using Skype, Facebook, or LinkedIn, etc., etc.? I think there are a lot of such information, data available in the world itself, which can be used to ensure that you get the right customer in. And I think I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg. There could be a lot of new use cases that can emerge. So yes, I think the future is bright. It's only about how, and I think the first point that he made, how and whether we want to use AI and how it will justify our business needs. I think that's where we have.
Thank you, Dr. Jasmin. So I think one of the point which came in hyper personalization section is that instead of pushing the products to the customer, identify customer needs when he is there in certain place, right? So moving that into an AI as well, I think we have enough data to study that, and then providing that service to the customer when he asks in a right way would be also a good use case that we can look at and make that possible as well. So Rupesh, Mehta, in addressing the challenges during AI deployment, and what's your recommendations?
Okay. So quickly, looking at the time of the day where people are, wanting to go for a tea, rather than bombarding more of information, let me take the different approach. I mean, we all talk about AI and we are all hyping AI. I mean, if I go with the very desi analogy of the AI, don't you think AI was there earlier also? Many years ago, there was.
Old wine in a new bottle.
There was a Kirana Mal store wala ek baniya tha, who used to study people's face and sell them, right? What was that? That was AI only.
Exactly.
Now today, at scale, when we are deploying this through a technology, we are all hyping that, okay, there is something new that we are all doing, and we should take a pride of that. There is nothing wrong in that. But in a way, we are kind of repeating that cycle at a scale. When we do anything at a scale, there are certain basic elements that we need to be taking care of. And the question is around that, what do you think, why the project AI-based programs, how you should implement, how you should ensure it should not fail. To answer that, we are at a hype cycle curve, and being a technologist, I generally would like to give that analogy to this, that there's a hype cycle wherein obviously there is a stages of the hype cycle. AI currently is at a stage wherein it is at a hype stage. Any technology, when it is at the hype stage, it takes certain time after that to come to a stage where actual business realization, actual benefit realization starts coming out. What does that mean? Does that mean should we not try AI? No, we should try AI. But if we try with an expectation that, I need AI to be implemented to provide me result tomorrow, then the expectation is wrong. So we, being a technologist, we need to set that expectation very clearly that AI is here to stay. AI is here to evolve. Let's start experimenting with that. Each and every company, each and every organization, more they do the experiment, more we enrich it with the data, better the models will become. So to answer your question, we need to have community engagements going more stronger. Any technology, when it is at this stage of the hype cycle, it requires people to come together, fund them as a crowdfunding kind of a program, make the data enrichment over there, and make the models which are much more stronger, which are much more evolved, and wait for the results. If it's not a 2-minute Maggi noodles which will provide you result, by tomorrow. So that strategy we need to set, that expectation we need to set very right, that AI is going to be evolving. It is evolving, and we need to start throwing more data to that. So having said that, obviously, every organization has certain ways, to fund the program. We as a technologist and we as a business technology guys, we need to understand that what kind of right benefit we can take out of the AI, which is not very hyped, which is not very long term. So create a short-term milestone and try to achieve that. If it fails, come out of it without having too much of investment so that it doesn't burn you. So I think that's the approach that can be taken up, and many organizations, many conglomerates have started on that journey, which is going to be benefiting for the many other small organizations. So that's how we should look up to that.
Thank you, Rupesh. Thanks for summarizing that. And now towards the technology platform itself. So Rahul, you heard fraud detection, you heard customer service, you heard risk management. How is Mitel enabled from a technology perspective to handle the AI innovations?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Gopi. I think I'm talking from a human perspective, we are getting accustomed, used to working with these technologies, AI-powered technologies. Let's think about our own experiences. Let's say few years earlier, we used to bang our phones if you get connected to a machine, somebody talking to you. I want to talk to human. That was all our experience. Today, we are so much comfortable chatting with a chat bot and getting our work done. We are evolving. And all these AI-powered technologies are making it much more simpler. Yeah. One of the example I'll talk about it, for some of the panelists talk about CX as well as EX. So let's think about CX. The way chat bot, we all are using it so comfortably. Voice bots also becoming quite equally competent, equally popular in the multilingual states. That's one area to work on. As if it should feel that we are interacting with humans. That's one area that we work on. Second is area which is technology is moving that direction. Some of the results are positive, but not very sure whether it will become part of a public debate about override of privacy. Example, sentiment analytics as well as intent analytics. You are actually able to identify today when you are talking to a customer on a phone and intent analytics. What is a probability that this customer would buy a product? So although technology is able to make this, with AI it is going to be even much more easier, powerful. Will it become an override of privacy for an individual? So these are some of the open topics which will come. One more area which we are trying to identify this is that, and just now we heard one of the comment regarding the community. To make it even more practical in a technology side of it. Let's say we have so many field engineers as well as the resellers who are working on the field. Today, the way they get the technology information or a problem whenever they are coming across a technology problem is to search for the documents, age-old technology. Yeah. This is becoming much more powerful now. At this, you're sitting in front of a machine, there is a problem, and then you have a ready-made help available with AI-powered tools. That's going to again improve overall response time and the net customer experience. So that's somewhere I do see a technology moving from our perspective.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rahul. So now we have heard the strategy, we saw the importance of the data, we saw the regulatory and governance factors, what we need to do, compliance, how to manage that. We also heard the prediction of AI, how it is evolving and how things are going, and the technology platform to support it. I think we should hear maybe a couple of use cases these dignitaries have deployed as part of that, and I'll take maybe a couple of them. So Viral, maybe you can give one of the use case that you have deployed and its success and the outcome that you got.
So we have been using AI since last about 15 odd years for fraud detection, because we've been in exchange. Market manipulation detection is one of our core responsibility and job. So we have been using that since long, and it's pretty accurate in terms of we have done some analysis on false positives over there, and it's really giving us good results. So that's one of the area that we have been using. Recently, we have also implemented AI, or rather some form of flavor of generative AI for our employee experience. I think Jasmin was mentioning about employee experience as well, where we have have one point of contact for any contact center or a IT help desk kind of a tool, where let's say if I have to reset my password, I don't have to call up anyone. It's just a chatbot. I can say and in natural language saying that I want to reset my password, and it'll just get executed. So a couple of things that we have done over that area. One that we are trying now very quickly in of time is whether we can use AI, and this is again a POC we've not deployed, so that's a disclaimer. In incident management, where we have some production incident, and we obviously, whenever we have production incident, we log those production incident in our repository. We're trying to see if AI can help us whenever a new incident come, whether the similar type of incident has happened earlier, and what was the root cause then, and what the action did we take at that point of time. We are trying to see if that predictive analytics can be given to the engineer to shorten the life cycle of incident response. So that's a couple of things that we are doing.
Okay, so I would love to hear more. I'm sure you guys too. But in the interest of time, I think all around, you will be hearing us around here. You can reach out to us and get additional information as well. Thank you so much for enlightening us on the AI, harnessing AI into major innovations as we move forward. Thanks a lot.